This podcast is about what's going on at the Grinnell Area Arts Council, and we'll be talking with Monica St Angelo in just a couple of moments. But first, a word from our sponsors, including Total Choice Shipping and Printing in Grinnell. Now, did you know that they can print and package your kiddos' custom Valentine's Day cards to pass out at school? Or maybe you have found the perfect set of cards for your child online and you purchased the file. Now you just need to have them printed, and they can get them printed for you for Valentine's Day. Because let's face it, Valentine's Day is only as fun as you make it, and this would be a perfect way to showcase your child's style at school to their friends. They have 13 styles of classroom Valentines available to pick up at Total Choice Shipping and Printing. Also sponsored by Grinnell State Bank, with locations all over the place, not only in Grinnell, but in Johnston, Marengo, and Polk City. And they have convenient online and mobile banking, and you can get started opening your accounts in just 15 minutes at Grinnell State Bank. This podcast is about what's going on with the Grinnell Area Arts Council, and several months ago I had the opportunity to have a conversation with Monica St Angelo, who directs this organization, and I was just amazed at all the things that are going on here. And Monica, you have quite a list of things coming up. Tell us about them.
Sure. Thanks for having me. We do have a lot of stuff happening. Our most immediate upcoming event is the second weekend of our Grinnell Community Theater play, which is a radio play. So we've got lots of new faces involved, which is exciting. It's the Edgar Allan Poe Afterlife radio show is the play. And because it's a radio play and people can have their scripts, we've had quite a few folks that have never been in a community theater production before. So that's super fun. I saw it last weekend. It's a great show. Yeah. And it's there's a retelling of a few of Poe's famous works, The Cask of Amontillado, The Fall of the House of Usher, and The Telltale Heart, I think.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
You hear that around Halloween every year.
You do, yes, mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's fun. We have a Foley artist, so there's live sound effects, and being a radio guy, you would appreciate that.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's coming up Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday night. That's January 30th, 31st, and February. Sorry, I should not say Saturday night. Saturday matinee on February 1st. And yeah, it's here at the Arts Center and the Loft Theater.
That sounds very interesting to me because several years ago, I went with my sweetie, Little Red, to the Martha Ellen Tye Theater in Marshalltown, and they did the It's a Wonderful Life radio play. And it's fascinating to see it happen. Several years ago, I'm trying to think of the guy who had the radio show on NPR for all those years. Man, it was a great show that he had. My mind is going blank, but he did Lake Wobegon and all that.
Oh, Garrison Keillor.
Yes. He came to the Civic Center in Des Moines and did his radio show from there.
Oh, fun.
And to watch the sound effects guy and everything that was going on with that was just amazing.
It's so cool. Then this is the same. I mean, and even though they're reading from the script, they're still acting, there's expression, and it's fun and funny. Actually, you wouldn't think an Edgar Allan Poe play would be funny, but it is. It's framed by actually Edgar Allan Poe and a cat.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and so it's just a great time.
All right, what else do you have happening, Monica?
Well, pretty soon we just had auditions for our next play, which won't be until April, but that's kind of, exciting. We're just keeping on the theater productions here. We do have a fundraiser coming up. That's kind of one of the only real fundraising events we do each year, and that's called the Stew Fest.
Okay, tell me about it. What's that all about?
So our makerspace is called the Stew Makerspace. This building that we're in is the Stewart Building because that's the person who put up the funds to build it in 1901.
Okay.
And so we've always just played around with that term. So the makerspace across the street is called the Stew Makerspace. So we have a Stew Fest every year. We invite local folks to cook up their best super stew. And we usually have about 12 chefs who bring their food.
No kidding.
Everybody can come and sample. We get little samples of all of it. We have a friendly vote. And then we crown the stew chef,
Oh, wow.
Queen or king at the end of the night.
That sounds like fun. Any idea how long that's been going on?
Well, it's been going on actually since before COVID. We obviously took a couple years off there. And so, yeah, we've been doing it, I think, probably since 2018, something like that.
And it's a big fundraiser for you.
It's a big fundraiser for the money goes to the Stew Makerspace, which helps us keep the entrance fee free for high school students. So high school students can use the space for free. And also to help just keep the cost low for everyone else who wants to use the space.
Great.
It helps with the operations a great deal. So,
and I know you were saying too that you're trying to get Grinnell College students more involved in things like this. Exactly.
Yeah, and they actually at the Makerspace we have college students who are employees.
Oh.
We have kind of a special arrangement with the college, so they're actually working for the college, but they work in the Makerspace. And we definitely have a good representation of those students who come to the Stew Fest. Some of them even have cooked in the past. And yeah, it's super fun. We also, I should mention, there's a silent auction involved. And so a lot of the items that are for auction are pieces that people have made who work in the stew, in whether the wood shop, the ceramic studio, there's a laser cutter that we've had some really cool stuff made in the past. Not all of the auction items are connected directly to the stew, but all local artists. And we've had items made by the college students in the past, wonderful items. So yeah,
Wow.
It's a fun, just kind of like relaxed event. Come, have some great food,
Real
hang out.
casual.
Yeah, exactly. It's
thing.
not like a gala or anything. It's just a fun, come and hang out.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of crock pots here?
We do. We have a lot of crock pots
You have
here
to put
on
in the
February.
extra electricity because
We've blown a few fuses.
I was going to say, because I've been involved in chili cook-offs before.
Yeah, yeah.
And people have actually had to put in extra electricity sockets and things like that.
That's interesting to know. Yeah, we've had to do some creative extension cord action.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, so that's on February 8th, and it starts at 5:30. So
All right.
$20 admission. And then you get some tags, you get to vote, you get to put a little paper in your favorite stew, and it's just fun.
Yeah, sounds like a good time.
It's a good winter activity.
All right. What else do you have happening here?
Sure. Well, we've got a lot of classes coming up. We're always adding classes to the schedule. Coming up very soon, we've got, actually on this Friday, which is the January 31st, we've got a workshop, a ceramics workshop for Valentine's Day. So it's a one-time thing. People can come in and they can paint something for their sweetie or for themselves, and then the ceramic studio folks will fire it and then come pick it up next week sometime.
That is great.
So we've got that workshop going on Friday night, and then we've got some sewing and knitting classes starting next week.
Okay.
We have a wool felting class.
A what?
Wool felting.
Wool felting.
Wool felting
What
workshop.
is that, Monica?
So if you have like an old sweater, and I'm not really the person to explain, but if you have something like an old sweater, you wash it and you know, it kind of shrinks, and when you've washed it up a certain amount, it gets a texture that's really good for making little different kinds of items. So we've had a workshop before where people took wool and made mittens because it's really dense and warm when you wash it up like that. But you can also make like cool little, little creatures. You can do all kinds of things with it. So you can make hats. There's all kinds of ways to work with that material. So February 15th, we have a workshop, a Saturday workshop for wool felting.
Anything else you want to add?
Every Monday, we have Messy Mondays at 10:30 a.m. That's for preschoolers and their adults. It's $5 to drop in, and my colleague Lauren runs that. It's kind of, our basement is a fun, messy place for kids.
Okay.
So it's a place to come. They can do paint, they can do glue, they can get as messy as they want here. And so we have that every Monday at 10:30. And then we've got a new exhibit opening up pretty soon in our Stewart Gallery in this building, the Art Center. That will be an exhibit of some Grinnell College student art majors. We've started this tradition of having the art majors have a show in early winter. We've always had school shows from our school districts. So we've had high school, middle school, elementary school. There's a Christian school here that we also have an exhibit of their artwork. And we thought, why don't we have the college students? So yeah, we've been doing that. This will be our third year, I think, and it's just really great. And you know, they're so creative. They're a little more mature in what they're working with, and so yeah.
That's great that you're getting them involved. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. But what if somebody listening wants to, just Joe Average or Jane Average or whatever wants to display some of their art? Can they do that too?
Well, we have a few venues. So we do have a committee for the gallery who will look at submissions because we have folks submit. They can definitely email us and give us a little bit of background and submit some photos of their work. And then the gallery committee takes all of those submissions and evaluates them and decides
Okay.
what will go up. So
Monica, other than the Stew Fest, how is, you have a lot of projects. I mean,
Yeah, we do.
obviously, you're busy.
Yeah.
How are these projects all funded anyway?
Well, many of them are funded through the generosity of our community.
Okay.
So of course we do fundraising and we seek sponsorships for our programs. We certainly write grants and things like that, but we're of course always looking for sponsors and funders for all the programs that we're doing. We're really lucky that we have so many generous people and organizations in our community.
That's fantastic.
But of course, you're always seeking more. You always
bet.
Yeah, you always want to be able to do more.
Got to get that funding. Are you a 501c3 nonprofit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all
Yes.
right. And if people want to make a donation, how can they do that?
Well, they can certainly go right to our website, and on the homepage, there's a donate button. So you
Okay.
can go there. But if you don't like doing it that way, you can always email me, call us, send us a check, all those good things. Yeah.
Now, we're recording this in the same room where we recorded last time, and there's a guy looking over my shoulder.
Yeah.
Is that the Stewart you were talking about
It
earlier?
is, exactly.
For the Stewart building?
Yes, right.
Can you tell me anything about this guy? Do you know about his history?
I know a little bit, and there are people around here who know much more than I do, but I do know that he was a local farmer, and he had seen Carnegie libraries around, the states at the time that were being built. Many times we have people come in and ask if this is a Carnegie library, but he wasn't interested in having a Carnegie library. He wanted Grinnell to be the funding, source, and so he put up the money. He and his wife, I think, worked on the plans. Some of that part we don't know the history very accurately, but they funded it and they gave the money, convinced the folks to donate this land to put the building on, and it opened in 1901. I should say he was a legislator also, so he went on to be a state legislator. Yep.
Tell us about some of the people that you have on your staff or volunteers, people who just generally help out here.
Sure. Well, I have one full-time employee, which is not me. It's actually Craig Gibbons, and he's our program manager. He really runs everything that happens over at the Makerspace. And of course, he does so much else around here. He works with the community theater organization quite closely.
Sure.
Lauren MG is our youth program coordinator. She helps with our after-school program. She leads Messy Mondays, and she's working on other projects for kids. Alicia, so this is my main core group here. Alicia Lucina she leads our Studio 6 after-school arts program, and she does all our graphics and that sort of thing. We have a ton of wonderful volunteers that help make all of these programs run, because we do have many programs, and without them, it just wouldn't happen. So
I'm going to ask you a philosophical question here. Why are the arts important?
Oh, gosh. There are so many reasons. I mean, they're a place for connection is one of my primary reasons.
With other folks?
With other folks,
yeah.
A place where you can come together over shared love of creating or enjoying the arts, or, whether it's making or enjoying the arts, it's a place to connect with people who are interested in the same. I feel like it's so important to have a space for some joy.
Mm-hmm. Sure, you bet.
So it's just an essential, being able to create. Maybe you don't express yourself as well verbally, or you're frustrated with something. Being able to come in and take a class or watch a play or listen to music is always just a really great opportunity, I think, for self-expression and connecting with other folks. So,
how did you get involved in this organization, Monica?
My background is in dance, actually.
Oh,
so,
okay. I think we might have talked about that last time. Yeah.
In a previous life.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I moved to Grinnell almost 26 years
Gosh.
ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my partner is a college professor.
Okay.
And I actually taught dance at the college when we first moved
you did?
here.
Oh, okay.
I did, yeah. And so living in Grinnell, probably like Newton. It's a small place, and over the years, I had actually been on the board of the Arts Council way back before it was as organized as it is now.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Back in the early 2000s. And then in the interim, I owned a yoga studio for a while.
Wow.
I actually did choreography for some of the summer musicals. And about the time my oldest was graduating from high school and heading off to college, it just kind of felt like time for a shift. And this job came up, so I applied, and here I am.
What do you like best about this job anyway?
Oh gosh, I'm probably the people, like getting to meet all the people like you and all the folks who stop in and, you know, get to talk about what's happening in Grinnell. I love being able to connect with the other organizations in town, like the Chamber of Commerce, folks at the college. We're all working on, you know, creating a great quality of life in Grinnell for the community.
Well, for those who did not hear our last podcast together, a lot of it focused on the murals all around town. And so I didn't want to focus on it this time, but I do want to give you a chance to talk about it, because if you haven't been to downtown Grinnell, folks, to see the murals on the different buildings, they all have a different story. And it's very fascinating. So why don't you tell us about that, Monica?
Sure. Well, just a little summary. The murals are, they're all historical photos of folks from Grinnell and the surrounding area. And the project came about because the college was planning a celebration for the completion of their new residence hall, which is named after Edith Renfro Smith, who is the first Black woman to graduate from Grinnell College. But she also grew up in Grinnell, so she's a Grinnellian through and through.
And I hear she attended the ribbon cutting or something like that?
Yes, she came. There was a whole celebration weekend for her.
And
she's
like,
110 years old.
I was going to say, she's 110. That's amazing.
Yes. But we wanted to do a project you know, tied to that, but also that kind of expanded a little and really spoke to the history of Grinnell in a way that maybe it hadn't been addressed before. I mean, people are really, you know, I would shout out Monique Shore from, at the time she worked at the library here in town, who actually wrote a children's book about Edith Renfro Smith's life, because she's an inspiring woman. And there's, you know, certainly overlooked history that happens, right? So this project with the murals, we wanted to expand the idea of who had lived in Grinnell a century ago, when it was an earlier part of its life, you know, the community.
Who is the little girl that's on the front of this building, Monica?
That is Edith.
Oh, that's her.
Smith. Yeah,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. She's about 2 years old. So we have both her toddler photo on the outside and her college graduation.
And now, isn't there a mural too with a group of kids?
There's a mural with a group of kids with Billy Robinson. So Billy Robinson was an aviator from Grinnell. He'd started off building bikes, and then he started building planes. I mean, this is in 1916, I believe that photo is from. He had flown to Canada. So he was in the very early days of the development of aviation in the United States, and he actually passed away trying to set a flight record.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's a fabulous photo, though, of him smiling and all these kids. We also have some cats around town. And there was a woman who was alive at the turn of the 20th century in Grinnell who became a photographer. So again, kind of a pioneer, a young woman pursuing photography. She became actually a well-known nature photographer, but in her teens, she dressed her cats up and took photos of them in domestic scenes. And then
cute.
she published a book through Simon & Schuster.
Oh, man.
But I like cats, and I love
so do
these.
I.
Yeah, I love these photos, and so that's one of the murals. The others are. I mean, we wanted to do a mix of people who you might know of, like Billy Robinson, people you might not have heard of, everyday Grinnellians who just lived here and worked just like we do now. So it was the idea. We called it Connections because we really wanted people to connect with folks who'd lived here 100 years ago.
How many cats do you have?
Of the murals? The
murals and personally. Both. I was just curious about that because we have two cats. One is Wyatt the Wonder Cat, who's also goes by Baron von Fuzzybutt. And then have you ever seen the movie Oh Brother, Where Art Thou with George Clooney?
Yeah.
We just adopted one that strayed into our yard last spring. And in that movie, George Clooney is the father of the Warvey Gals. And he sees them singing up on a stage, and so we named the other cat Warvey Gal. Because we had to get Wyatt and Warvey. We had to have two W units. What about your cats? Just tell us about those real quick.
Sure. Well, we have Oliver at home right now. We had two for a long time. The other one was named Rumpus. He's
Okay.
gone on to the, the litter box in the sky. And then we actually, I say we have 1.5 cats because there is a stray cat who's like half tame and hangs out on our deck, and we do feed her, and
Okay, sure.
we call her Elma for short for Little Mama.
Oh, okay.
Because she had kittens, and
Oh,
it was the
sure,
whole thing.
Sure. Now, I think I interrupted you there, but you were going to tell me about the cats in the mural also.
Yes. Well, so
Okay.
we have one big cat mural, but
Okay.
then we actually put up, of course, I'm a little rusty now, I think 7 small cats,
Okay.
because many of them sort of spoke to the community. So, for example, there was a photo of a cat reading a newspaper, and so we put that over on one of the Grinnell Herald Register buildings.
Neat.
But they're just fun because they're small, and so it really became kind of a scavenger hunt for people to go around and find all of the little cats.
Well, this next question kind of comes in the category of you can't make everyone happy, because even doing a podcast, is people who, and I like to get the feedback from people, but somehow when we talked last time about the murals, we left out a mural that's on a car wash.
Oh,
here
yes,
in
we
town.
did.
Yeah, and what is that about?
That is a Spalding car, and the Spalding factory was here in Grinnell. It was one of the earliest manufacturers of vehicles west of the Mississippi. And yes, I think I remember thinking afterwards, like, shoot, we missed that one. And it's on the car wash. It's a perfect location because the vehicle doesn't have a top. It's an early 20th century car. So, it just seems like very cute that it's at the car wash. And they were, so generous in letting us use that space. All of the building owners were.
So, Monica, if people want more information, you have a website, a Facebook page, both?
We do. Yes, we do have all of that. We've got a website. It's GrinnellArts.org. Okay. And then our Facebook is the same. Just look for Grinnell Area Arts Council and you'll find us. All right. Our interview guest, Monica St Angelo of the Grinnell Area Arts Council. Thanks for joining me. Thank you. Until next time, out is out. See ya.